So I just finished my first F45 training session.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. At the start of this year, I signed up for the F45 8-week challenge on a bit of a whim, and I also decided to document the process so that I could do a bit of a review video on my experience, which is what you're watching right now. If you're just after the results, feel free to go ahead and skip to this time. I'll just pop it here so that you can have a look at how I went. But if you want to see the whole process, watch on.
Alright, day 2, workout done. I got my body scan today as well, which was interesting. I'm feeling pretty sore, I'm not gonna lie. Today was more strength based. I am a little bit hungry, struggling a little bit already, so I guess I'm just adapting. But yesterday there was only half a serving of fruit all day, and I don't know if there's any more today, so I just love fruit.
Yeah, girl, you're gonna struggle a bit with this throughout that challenge, so good luck.
Anyway, we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so I brought up the body scan results in that video, but I didn't actually talk about them, so let's do that now. If anything, I was kind of pleasantly surprised about my results. I had just been away for 2 months. I didn't do any weight training for the entire time I was away, only swimming and walking. So my body fat percentage was 20.2, which is kind of like borderline between the fitness and athlete percentage. Quite surprised. My weight was just under 50 kilos, which, like, I'm a very small human, just keep that in mind. And that's all that's really relevant on that scan for this video, I feel. I also took my lovely before pictures that day. I didn't really want to, but I knew that that was going to be so helpful to see how I'd actually gone at the end of the challenge. If you haven't been to F45 before, basically the way it works is that you've got a cardio-based day followed by a strength-based day, and they just rotate. So it's not like you are smashing the cardio every single day or smashing the weights every day. I think that is a great schedule so that you do get time to kind of recover. Just to give you an idea of how much food costs from the challenge, this is 1 week's worth of food here. This cost me $55. Considering I had just returned from a 2-month trip and needed to stock up on some staples as well, I don't think that was too bad.
It's the last day of week 1 of the challenge. Not feeling too bad. Been having a lot of trouble with the meal plan. I just love fruit. I think I've said that already. Fruit
Is a life.
But I'm really struggling without that. Not energy-wise, I'm actually super energetic, surprisingly. It's interesting because I've always just assumed that I've functioned a lot better on a high-carb diet because that's what I like to eat. And it has worked for me in the past, but I've got to say I've been feeling really good in the classes on the high-protein, high-fat, low-carb diet. I haven't stuck to the plan 100%. I'm gonna say I've had like an extra piece of fruit every day at least. And look at this commitment. So I'm going to my boyfriend's tonight, and usually we'd make like a healthy homemade pizza or just something that wouldn't be on the meal plan. But I prepared a double batch of this soba noodle thing, and we're gonna eat that tonight. Loving the workouts though, loving the actual gym. Everyone is so nice and supportive. Also, forgot to say in that rant, I did weigh myself yesterday and I have lost 1 kilo already, which is pretty cool. So results. See you later.
So the first week of workouts, as you might expect, were a bit of a shock to the system. I really enjoyed the classes. I felt really energetic, but I was getting really sore. I'd been really ambitious and I booked myself in for 5 mornings in a row. I had to cancel the 5th morning because I could hardly move. As I went through the challenge, I stopped feeling so sore after the workouts, and it was a lot easier to recover. This is what happens when you're trying to work out what 300 grams of sweet potato is and you don't have a food scale. So it's Tuesday, week 2, and I've actually decided to mix it up a bit with the meal plan. Sometimes you just don't want to eat spinach leaves with walnuts and olive oil and zucchini for breakfast. So today I'm making sweet potato, cauliflower, vegan bowl, which is actually from the vegetarian plan. This is actually the dish from the app that made me consider looking at the vegetarian meal plan and seeing if I could sub some of that in. I really think that if you are hating the food that's on the meal plan, you're not going to be motivated to cook, you're not going to be motivated to stick to the meal plan. And like, some people probably love what's on here, and like I said, I have actually really enjoyed most of it, but flexibility is just a big thing for me. I feel like I was in a really good place with intuitive eating just before I started the challenge, and I don't want to feel restricted, I guess. So let me explain properly what I'm trying to say in this video here. Basically there are 3 meal plans: the vegan plan, the vegetarian plan, and the mainstream plan. Because I'm vegan, obviously I was following the vegan plan. But I noticed one day when I was eating this like awful spinach salad thing for breakfast that the mainstream plan was eating like sweet potato pancakes, and I only would have had to change one ingredient to be able to make them vegan, and I was kind of like, okay. Let's reassess what I can do with this meal plan. They do say on the challenge that you can switch between plans and you can repeat meals if you want to throughout the week. So I started mapping out every week a little bullet journal. So I just made a bit of a list of the meals from all the meal plans that I felt like I would enjoy that week. And I just scheduled days for myself to make them and made my own kind of custom shopping list. I should mention as well, the first 2 weeks are kind of a detox meal plan. I didn't know that because I hadn't gone to the information night, and I assumed that the whole 8 weeks was going to be similar food to that, which is like quite restrictive with what you can and can't eat. I think if I hadn't known that it was just a short phase, I maybe would have been able to get through it a bit easier. Something else as well for all you coffee lovers, you can't have coffee for the first 2 weeks. That was okay for me. I don't really drink it that often, but my friend Paris, who did the challenge too, was having like multiple coffees a day before the challenge, and she said she was getting like the worst headaches throughout the first 2 weeks, which is definitely understandable. If you do want a better look at a full day's worth of food on the F45 meal plan, I did make a video about that a few weeks back, so I'll pop the link here, feel free to check it out. If I can do that. I actually don't know if I'm technologically advanced enough to know how to. If not, it'll be down in the description box. I'm still hungry. I'm hungry for cereal. Carbs. Does anyone want to stick 100% to this meal plan? Help. This is tragic.
Hey there, coming to you from week 4. I haven't really documented much last week because it was a struggle and a half. I was feeling so tired in all the classes. I didn't stick to the meal plan. I went out for food on Saturday and Sunday, but this week I'm back on track. It's Tuesday and I've promised myself I'm going to stick 100% to the meals because, yeah. I only did 3 classes last week, but I did exercise every day again, so I still haven't had a rest day. And last week as well was just emotionally a bit challenging. I don't really know what I'm doing right now. I came back without a job from traveling. Oh my god. Who am I? That audition I did the other week that I was filming in the car beforehand, I got that, which is good, but it's not for another 6 weeks, and I'm having trouble finding a job that's going to take me for 6 weeks and then let me go on holidays, not holidays, but work somewhere else for 2.5 weeks and then come back. I'm bored at home, I'm hungry all the time, but I've got my potato salad. It's gonna be okay. This is delicious, by the way. It's just good to have something cold and not so protein heavy and hot as well. Okay, I'm going to dance class and then I'm going to F45 tonight as well. I will see you later.
Alright, so as you can tell, I'm having a bit of a tough time here. I just want to point out that I wanted to make this video very like real and not make it like, oh, like it's so easy, it's so much fun, I'm having a great time, because I feel like there is so much of that on social media. Everyone's way more inclined to post their positive highlights than their negative, and I wanted to keep this very real. So I was much more inclined to pull out the camera and have a chat to it when I was struggling a little bit. Even if I was struggling with the workouts, I really loved them. In terms of the meals, there were only, I think, 3 meals I cooked for the entire plan that I actually disliked. It was more that all the food was very similar. The actual meals were great, the workouts were great, and overall I was not having as much of a terrible time as it looks like I was having in this video. When I hit week 3 and week 4, I did start to struggle a bit more with my energy levels in class. The first 2 weeks I felt like I was just powering through those workouts. As I said in that video, I hadn't had a rest day yet, and I was doing like multiple workouts some days with dancing, rehearsals, all of that. Looking back now, it's so obvious that I was overexerting myself, but at the time I was just so in that challenge mindset of wanting to do well that I just didn't quite see that. I also felt like I started to plateau a little bit. I think in the first 2 weeks I started to see more noticeable progress, and then it kind of stopped for a bit and I was kind of like, well, what am I doing wrong? Shortly after this I did get sick as well. I think it was week 5. I've never been hit so hard by a cold before, so I think it might have been a flu, to be honest with you. I was literally stuck in bed for like 3 or 4 days and I didn't go to F45 for an entire week. I was off the meal plan. I really believe in just listening to your body when you are sick. You know, like one day I was ravenous, the next day I had no appetite at all. So that week didn't really help with my results either. And to be honest with you as well, I just mentioned that I was probably overexerting myself without realizing it. I'm sure that would have played a part in that sickness. Maybe it was just a regular cold, but because I was so tired, my body was so drained, it couldn't repair itself as quickly as normal. So just be conscious of that if you're doing the challenge. Try to be level-headed and treat your body nicely. Give it what it needs. That's more important at the end of the day than doing well on the challenge, I feel.
When this amount of sweat is what happens when you feel like you didn't work very hard in a class, you know you are very deep into this challenge.
I really kind of found my second wind in the last 2 weeks or so. I was smashing out my workouts again. I was more or less sticking to the meal plan and I felt like I was starting to see some results again. Well, I didn't mean to alarm anyone, but we've got a bit of a situation right here. I don't know what happened, but I just stopped documenting anything for the last 4 weeks. So on Friday, my body just gave up and I was so hungry and I just ate so much food. So I'm trying to eat a bit less for the last few days to try and negate that. Not that I'm going to encourage that at all, but anyway, I'll let you know how my scan goes tomorrow. And yeah, I hope it's okay. I hope I've made some progress. I'm sure I have. Here are my before and after pictures. I actually wasn't even planning to take the after shot, but because I was doing this video, I was like, oh no, like I really should. And I'm so glad that I did because I actually can see such a big difference. And if I was just looking at the scan results, I don't know if I would have been that happy with how I did. I actually took this as well a few days after the scan when I had been eating quite a bit more the week after the challenge. And I wish I'd taken it on the scan day because I think it would have been even more noticeable, the difference. But overall, I went down 2.2 kilograms. I lost 2.4% of body fat. So I'm now at 17.8%, which is well in the athlete zone. I don't feel like I have an athlete's body, but if it's going to tell me that I do, I'm not going to argue with it. I lost 100 grams of muscle, which kind of broke me a little bit because I feel like I was trying so hard to lift heavier as the challenge went on. I've always struggled with building arm muscle. I feel like my legs and abs are always pretty solid, but my arms, like I just struggle so much with tricep push-ups and pull-ups and everything. And when I saw that go down, I was like, oh, really? But the body scan guy basically said that only losing 100 grams is actually a good thing because it is such an intense challenge and you're in a deficit for the whole time, calorie-wise. It's quite common for people to lose even more than that. Only weird thing about this is that all my measurements went down except my neck grew by 0.5 centimeter. Like that's a decent amount for a neck. Like necks are pretty small. The week before I was like filming a video of me singing and I like looked at my neck in the playback and I was like, that looks really chubby. And I was like, no, it's just the angle, I'm just imagining it. Nope, my neck actually grew. Alright, well, to wrap up, I actually really did love the challenge. I think at the start, if they really phase into that detox meal plan, that could be helpful rather than going straight into it. And more fruit as well. I think it's really bad that there's not much fruit in there. The last week there was actually not a single serving of fruit, and that's the point where I really just went, fuck this, I'm gonna eat the fruit because fruit is not something to be scared of. It's not unhealthy for you. I know that it is a keto diet in the last 2 weeks, but to the point where it's 0 fruit for the whole week, I don't think that's healthy. With the keto diet as well, I found that didn't really sit too well with me. And my skin actually broke out like crazy in the last week as well. So it's gone down now. We're pretty much back to normal. But yeah, keto, not for me. I am actually signing up for the next challenge, which I certainly did not intend to do. It is quite expensive, F45, and honestly even before that challenge I was like, I don't know if I can really afford this, but I just wanted something to push me back into exercise when I got back home because I thought that otherwise I was going to get really lazy with it, and I think I would have been right. Next challenge I will be a bit more flexible with my food. I think that I'll probably do like the main meals for lunch and dinner of the F45 plan, but my snacks and breakfast I think I'll incorporate more fruit. More grains as well, especially during the last 2 weeks. I probably won't do the intense keto thing again. And I will let myself have treats because I think that otherwise, and I found this in the last week after finishing the challenge, it's like my body was like, oh my god, like now I finally get to eat junk food as well. Not huge amounts, but I've just been so drawn to it because it was like this thing that I couldn't have for 8 weeks. So yeah, I think the next challenge I'll definitely treat myself at least once a week, have some higher calorie days when my body is craving it, and eat a bit more fruit. I do feel much fitter after the challenge. I went for a run for the first time last week and I felt like I was flying. I haven't felt that good on a run in like so long, so my fitness has definitely gone up. I feel stronger, I feel more energetic in dance classes. I also feel like I've learned a lot about cooking. I always kind of had my staple recipes that I stuck to, but I now have a bunch of more like protein heavy options to incorporate. And there are some meals from that challenge that I honestly like loved and I definitely will make again. I do definitely need a bit of a break before the next challenge, so I'm currently in the middle of 4 weeks of just no F45, just maintaining the weight that I've lost. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure I will put on about 0.5 kilo from this week's diet and lack of training, but that's okay. And I'm sure I will document the next challenge as well, and I'll compare how I went, being a bit more flexible with the food and having a bit more of a relaxed mindset. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about my experience on the challenge, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. And if you're interested in this type of content, please like and subscribe because I plan to upload a video about every 1 or 2 weeks this year. See you later. Oh, I always forget. I can't do the cover the camera with my hand thing if I've got... Oh my god. Bye. Yeah, there's that neck, see? There's the 0.5 centimeter right there. God, this isn't going in the video.